Spock. There is a chain people draw from the census outward. Compelled count to legibility, to data sets, to commercial demand, to ever wider collection, to more state and corporate power. Is it sound?
Take it seriously, Captain. Most of its links are real. Drawn as an arrow that only points one way, it is a slippery slope. Plausible steps offered as a single proven one. But the correction has to cut both ways. The census is the legitimacy template for legibility, not the surveillance pipe. Yet its protection is thinner than it looks. Anonymized statistical data re-identifies, and the one break on record is 8 years old. So neither doom nor comfort. The honest reading refuses the false inevitability and the false reassurance at once. Not a destiny, but not defended.
State the argument at its strongest.
A modern state must make its population legible, countable, addressable, before it can tax, serve, or police. The census is the founding instrument of that. Once a population is legible, data sets centralize, analysis grows valuable, a market forms around data, institutions face standing incentives to collect more and retain it longer, and those incentives are lobbied into policy. Each link alone is observable. The worry is not paranoia, it is a real gradient.
And the move.
It draws an arrow from the first link to the last and calls the whole thing inevitable.
What exactly is the census's role?
Best named precisely. In Seeing Like a State, the anthropologist James Scott argues the modern state must simplify a complex society into standardized, countable units to act on it, and that this drive underwrites both the welfare check and the surveillance file. The census is the canonical legibility instrument. It normalizes the idea that compelled disclosure of who and where you are is ordinary and benign. That normalization is its real contribution, not as a conduit of data, but as the precedent that makes population-scale collection feel like a civic good.
Counter.
A precedent is not a pipeline. That the census makes legibility feel normal is an argument about legitimacy, not about where any byte of your data goes.
The chain skips a wall. What is it?
A real one, and the correction has to skip less of the rest. Your individual census response is confidential by statute, sealed 92 years, not handed to the police, the tax agency, or any company. That much is true. But the wall has open windows, and an earlier draft of this case oversold it. The agency still publishes aggregate tables and public use microdata and links records, and anonymized is not anonymous.
How not?
The foundational result was built on census data itself. LaTanya Sweeney showed 87% of a population is uniquely identified by date of birth, sex, and postal code alone. A 2019 study put it at 99.98% from 15 attributes. The keys to do it are the very data economy of Section 4. So, your data is protected is itself a brand, an anonymization procedure offered as proof of safety when the procedure fails. The raw form is locked, the person stays findable.
So where does the Ratchet actually run?
Through the channels with no 92-year seal. Administrative records linked across departments, the commercial data broker economy, what Shoshana Zuboff named surveillance capitalism, the conversion of human behavior into predictive product, platform telemetry, and the standing institutional appetite for more. Each expansion justified by a benign standard, evidence-based policy, better services, fraud prevention, which is the definitional dodge doing quiet work. The chain's middle is sound. Its endpoints slip. It starts at the wrong instrument and ends at the wrong modality.
Counter.
Better services is a standard, not a limit. For each new collection, ask what it forecloses, who profits, and what would have to be true to stop it.
And the break?
There is one, and it engaged, once, visibly, 8 years ago. In 2018, Statistics Canada moved to acquire, from 9 banks, the financial records of 500,000 Canadians. The Privacy Commissioner opened an investigation. A Senate committee took it up. The Commissioner's office called it akin to total state surveillance. The plan was halted, not implemented as designed.
So the brakes work.
No, that is the reading to resist. It shows the system can stop a flagrant, visible grab. It says nothing about the failure mode that matters more, because that one has no villain to investigate. The quiet re-identification of data already released, advancing every year, while the oversight that stopped 2018 sits idle. The brakes run on outrage. Re-identification produces none. A brake engaged once against a threat that announced itself, and does not run in the race it is quietly losing.
Name the move.
A slippery slope laments a real gradient, then smuggles in an inevitability the gradient does not establish. It is the same form the series catches the state using in reverse. The state launders expansion as better service. The slope launders a tendency as a destiny. Sympathy for the worry is not a reason to grant the form.
So what survives?
Keep every sourced link. Delete the word inevitably. What remains is a strong, true, defensible argument, and a to-do list of breaks to hold, every one of them currently being outrun.
Stated and its limits.
It does not claim the Ratchet is imaginary, that the census can never be abused, or that the firewall is solid. It is not. Anonymized outputs re-identify. It does not dismiss the chain. It does claim this. The gradient toward more collection is real and documented. The census is the legitimacy template for it. The protections are real, but partial and lagging. The firewall guards the raw form, while anonymized data re-identifies, and the one break on record, 2018, policed a visible grab, not the quiet capability now outrunning it. And converting that gradient into an inevitability is still a laundered sentence, because inevitability is unproven. The honest version is not the reassuring one, not a destiny, but not defended. The brakes are losing, which is the reason to hold them, not to trust them.
Where does it sit?
The escalation case 22 declined to make, taken up with the discipline kept. The measurement thesis of case 10 followed downstream. And it borrows the integration stamp of case 16 in a new guise. Your data is protected, anonymized, offered as proof of safety, when re-identification quietly voids the protection it advertises. Most of all, it is the series auditing its own instincts, applying to a critique it shares the same standard it applies to power.
Leave them the line.
The slope is real. The fall is not inevitable, but it is not braked. One break, in 2018, the wall has open windows. The capability does not sleep.